Hello, Original Soul. Welcome in. Welcome back. Thank you for showing up for this reading. Shall we jump into it? Let's see what the cards have to say here. So I got a couple oracle cards out of the Soul Journey lesson cards. So starting out with gratitude. We've also got out relationships, friendship, and doubt. All right, so we'll jump into these and add some tarot. But definitely you might have some relationships or friendships that you are releasing. You may have some new ones coming in. There could be a lot of doubt and uncertainty, maybe with those choices or with how you're feeling, or maybe even with trusting, right? So let's just see what the cards have to say. But we'll start with gratitude. I am thankful for this life and the opportunities that it presents. All right, so checking in with the gratitude list. Maybe start out with some of the easy ones and the things that you're obviously grateful for. But thinking of that word opportunity, right? Sometimes we have challenging things, and maybe you even make this list around relationships, given the cards that have come out here. But when things are difficult or challenging, that doesn't always feel like an opportunity. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but when I hear opportunity, it sounds like, well, that's only going to be something good and positive. But sometimes we go through things that we perceive as negative or undesirable. But have you ever been through something that felt that way at first, and then when you come out the other side, you've grown, you've changed, you've learned? So, like I said, maybe start with the easy part of that list. And then moving on to maybe the more challenging opportunities to find gratitude. All right, let's see here. Wow, two majors coming out right away. We got Judgment and the World showing up with gratitude. All right, so let's see here. So maybe you've got a big shift in your energy. You could be switching up your perspective a little bit. Like I said, there could be some things that you're releasing and letting go of. The World is the last major arcana in tarot. So again, that can be cycles closing out, maybe seeing a bigger picture. And then Judgment, feeling a similar energy here. Yeah, this could be some kind of awakening. And this is a progression as well. You've got 20 and 21. So these cards are going right in order here. Yeah, at the bottom of the deck right now, Five of Swords, which this can be arguing, conflict, assertiveness, aggressiveness, fighting, defensiveness, right? So if you have any of that going on, whether that's just in your own internal environment or, again, in your relationships with others, taking a step back, and again, maybe even facing the music a little bit. Just noticing how Raccoon there is playing that trumpet. Also finding gratitude for like your spirit team, your angels, and maybe you even have a little gratitude for your mind or how you see things, or the way that you do maybe judge things. All right, let's see here. Let's get another one here with these. Okay. Yeah, Eight of Cups, like I was talking about, possibly time to release something. Right, this is walking away. And that can be difficult. She's got strings attached to two of these cups. Right, so that doesn't mean, that you don't still have feelings or emotions, or even some heartache with whatever this might be. But yeah, moving on to something different. All right, let's see here. Yeah, for some of you, this might even be, possibly just divorce with the King of Swords here. Or again, just making a final decision about something. Okay, let's move on to relationships and see what builds here as we go. With relationships, I am attracted to those people who serve my higher good. Right, so remembering our relationships are essentially a mirror to us, for us. Does not feel that way normally. So just notice with the people that you have around you, if they're making you feel uplifted, supported. When you're done being with these people, do you leave feeling happy? Also getting that just for when you spend time with yourself as well, versus maybe some of those situations or people. This could even be relationships with other things, food, addiction, shopping, social media, especially with the World card out here. So yeah, making sure what you're taking in is really adding to your life instead of taking away, because that does really impact your body. We've got the Empress out here. All right, so the Empress is content, creative, confident, a lot of transformation. So maybe you've even been working on your physical body or doing something different with your appearance. Kind of rocking the Andre Agassi look lately. Right, but maybe you are just taking better care of yourself and giving a little bit more attention to how you feel, nurturing your heart space, and then also nurturing those relationships that have you feeling good instead of having you feeling stuck. Yeah, another major arcana with the Chariot. Good Lord. We've got Judgment, the World, the Empress, the Chariot. I remember reading I just did the other day. It was like so many major arcana too. So this is a lot of big shifts. I don't know, do you have a lot of shifts going on right now or changes in your life with other people? Or again, maybe this is, changing a little bit of your own vibe, or so maybe you've had some kind of awakening and you're just kind of doing things differently, following maybe more of a spiritual path with the Chariot here. Because you've been through a lot, you've really had to persevere. Another card too about your spirit team, angels. So that's coming through really strong as well. And maybe that's something that you haven't always had a strong relationship with. Perhaps you're developing a little bit more of a spiritual connection or having a little bit more faith. That could have been something that was a struggle for you, possibly in the past. Because maybe there is, either something from childhood or something with children. Yeah, that has just maybe had you detached a little bit from that spiritual side, or even receiving or accepting some of those types of messages and guidance. All right, let's move on here to friendship. All right, friendship. I understand that a friend is in my life for a reason. And everything, I feel like, really is in our life for some sort of reason. So let's see what comes out with friendship. All right, 8 of Pentacles. Another one or so here. Eight of Pentacles, King of Pentacles. All right, so with this friendship, and understanding a friend is in your life for a reason. Again, if you're on the side where maybe you are needing to release some relationships. These could be ones that you've put a lot of time and effort into. Look at this Eight of Pentacles with that cute little otter there, just kind of working away. He's got all those pentacles there, scissors in his hand, but like I said, maybe it's time to cut somebody out. Like snip, snip. And that can be really hard to do because then we start just questioning like what a waste of time that might have been, or why did we put so much effort into something. This could also be a situation like you're in a comfort zone with, right? It brought abundance at one point. All right, let's get another one here with that. And you just kind of know what to expect. Or like I said, it's sort of the way you've always been. Death wanted to pop out, but I popped him back in. So again, some sort of transformation, some sort of change. Like I said, some sort of release possibly. And then for other people, there might be someone new coming in. All right, and this could be even a relationship possibly that does need to put in some work or some time or some effort. Maybe you notice if there's anyone in your life that you do appreciate, but maybe you haven't been paying them any attention lately. I mean, we all, we have our own lives to live and we have things going on, so it can be easy to kind of get caught up in your own stuff and your own kind of 3D life. Especially if, maybe you have turmoil in one situation. Let's say you're struggling in a marriage, and maybe that has you kind of always focusing on that, or just kind of thinking about that a lot, or just struggling with that. And then maybe, your friendships start to suffer, and just even the relationship again with yourself and the friendship with yourself. Right, so something coming up with that here. But then again, for others, like I said, maybe you have new relationships coming in. We'll get to doubt in a minute, but there's a little bit where if it's new, there hasn't been all that time and effort yet. But this does have the potential to kind of turn into this King of Pentacles, something really grounded, something really long-lasting. All right, and then the other two that I got out here with Fool 2.0, and then Three of Swords in reverse. All right, so for some people, again, this could be something new coming in. It could be a person that you already know coming back around, or this could just be a new opportunity at something you thought was lost. Maybe you thought you would never find love again, and then someone new shows up in your life, and so now you have this sort of second chance or an option for a new start. This, I'm noticing the red feather, and we had a lot of that red in this card as well. So, this new chance that you might be just diving right in, not jumping back into heartbreak. The fact that we have this upside down, right? You're not going to repeat that same cycle. You're not going to have that same experience. Right? Because maybe you make that gratitude list and really see like what you've learned and how you've grown. And maybe even what you can avoid or do differently, right? In this Fool 2.0. Right, so I really like that. Diving towards something that's more healing, that starts to actually heal your heart. All right, so for whoever that's for, that is exciting. All right, let's see here. And then we'll move on to doubt, which underneath that is happiness. So doubt, I release the need to know all the answers. All right, let's see here. That probably feels like too many. Let's just see what these are. Oh, yeah. Wow, really a mixed bag here. We'll shuffle again, but, you've got conflict and fighting, then a new beginning, then these burdens, then this happiness, Two of Cups, More love and happiness uniting, and then this boundaries. This looks like contemplating, thinking, even detaching. Right, and then the Six of Swords. This can be moving on to something different or new, or maybe like you've been waiting around a lot. Wow, so it seems like you've been through a lot of ups and downs. Maybe you do have relationships too, because everyone grew up in different sorts of situations or with different role models, different environments, even though we're all here on Earth, right? But everyone's household is different. Like, do you ever go to your friend's house for the first time when you're a kid and you're like, oh my God, like I've never had this bread before, or they use a different toothpaste and like everything just seems different. But anyway, whoever that's for, but for some of us too, like, some people fighting is, they think that's part of their love language, or, just some of that kind of banter back and forth, or sometimes even being sarcastic with each other, right? Or cutting people down, even if you're doing it in a joking way, right? Some people sort of have that dynamic, and not everyone looks at it that way, and so that can be really challenging depending on your love language versus someone else's love language. Yeah, so maybe looking or watching for some of those patterns. Yeah, because balance with temperance at the bottom. All right, let's see here. Stop rambling and focus again. But anytime you're really joking or sarcastic with that, or even with yourself, I used to just constantly make sort of these offhanded jokes about myself, because, I always thought I was the funny one, and they did make people laugh, and it was a way even maybe for me to laugh at what I was going through. But at the end of the day, your spirit and your soul don't really understand that sarcasm, and somewhere under all of that is really a hurt and something that's being pushed down. So yeah, maybe someone else out there, I've been really working hard on being a little less sarcastic. I mean, I still want to be funny, right? But I don't have to do it in a way that's maybe cutting people down, or maybe even cutting myself down. Sometimes we do things like that and we don't even notice. So that could even be where some of these ups and downs are coming in. So again, maybe doing some of that journaling, or just kind of thinking back to, can you notice any patterns in some of your past relationships here? All right. Wow. Okay, they're just flipping out with doubt. So let's see what just came out. What is going on here? All right. We've got the Sun, the Queen of Cups, and the Queen of Wands. All right, let me hold these up here. All right, so a little bit of doubt, or maybe even a little bit of mistrust, possibly, or just maybe not as familiar or understanding with feminine energy. So again, depending on what you've been through in the past, this could be just challenges with either mother energy, nurturing, even kind of defensiveness, or like I was saying, kind of that more assertive attitude. All right, there's a little bit of doubt here. The Sun, I feel like it did kind of flip out in reverse. I'm noticing that red feather again in the sunflower. This feels like just doubting that you can kind of have what you're hoping for, what you want, your desires, your wishes. Yeah, kind of doubting some kind of intuition, right? Doubting your spark. And because you don't see exactly how it's going to work out or what those answers might be. Let's get one more with this. Yeah, there's sort of this push-pull energy, this back and forth. Look how they're kind of up there on those stilts. It's a really precarious situation. Yeah, Ace of Wands, new beginning. All right, so there's some sort of new spark, new idea, new passion coming in. Like I said, we have these cycles that possibly need to close, something that you need to walk away from that really is impacting, or maybe was impacting your energy or your body or your mindset. Right? Giving more care to yourself, right? Drinking more water, go for some walks, eat something good. Be around people that make you laugh and feel good. Yeah, cutting things out that you no longer need or that just really aren't helping you at this moment. It doesn't mean you have to cut people out necessarily forever, but maybe you just need to take a time out or a break, set some boundaries. Yeah, because we've got the Emperor here at the bottom of the deck, and we had the Empress out. So that does feel like some sort of union or some sort of partnership. Again, it could be a love relationship. Maybe something is coming back around, right? But that really can't happen until you release something else. Maybe something's coming back around and you're not totally trusting that based on what you've been through before. Really wondering if you can trust what your heart is telling you. Trust what your instincts are telling you. But yes, right, when your heart and your instincts are really nudging you in a direction, sometimes that's worth following and pursuing. Not sometimes, most of the time, because that's really how your cup is going to get filled up. And again, you're just not going to have the outcome before you get there. Plus, wouldn't that be a little bit boring anyway if we always knew exactly how something was going to work out? Yeah, so being willing to follow that spark, follow that passion, follow your instincts and your intuition, instead of being afraid of finding more heartbreak and repeating past cycles. And be proud of yourself for how far you've come. Tap in more with your angel guides, your spiritual team. Start building that faith and that trust. Right, not only with spirit realm, but with yourself, with your choices, understanding that you do know what to do. So again, we've got this Emperor and Empress here, right? So some kind of harmony, some kind of perfect match. Whether that's finally blending your energy, maybe appreciating the feminine qualities. All right. Well, that's what we've got here for this mind, body, spirit reading. Tons of major arcana. All right, we've got union and connection, some amount of release and letting go, and needing to trust yourself, trust your instincts as you move forward and make your choices. Right? Don't worry about that doubt. You can release that too. Right? It's not possible for your human brain to have all the answers of everything that's going to happen in life. Right? Let the universe surprise you a little bit. All right. All right, so that's what we've got here for this mind, body, spirit message. I hope there was something here for you today. And until next time, peace.